It was a place forgotten by time, hidden away from the world yet never truly abandoned. Imagine stepping into a space where the air feels thick with secrets and the shadows seem to breathe alongside you. A place so still, yet alive with an unspoken energy that wraps around you like a chilling embrace. The walls, stained by years of neglect, whispered tales of sorrow and pain, their cracks running deep like scars from a distant unhealed wound. The flickering lights overhead cast ghostly erratic shadows that stretched unnaturally, creeping across the room as if reaching out to touch her, to pull her deeper into the suffocating silence. Her footsteps echoed, the sound magnified in the vast, desolate emptiness, a reminder that she was no longer just a visitor. She was trapped. Each step she took seemed to make the place feel smaller, more confining, as if the very air itself was growing thicker, pressing against her chest with every breath. The faint scent of mildew mixed with something more unsettling, like the metallic tang of something ancient and forgotten, wrapped itself around her senses. The floor beneath her was slick and uneven, covered with layers of dust and decay, as though the very ground itself had been abandoned by life long ago. Every hallway twisted into another, each corner leading deeper into a labyrinth of darkness, where the lights flickered in and out like the last vestiges of hope trying to escape. The stillness was deafening, broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards, as if the house itself was groaning under the weight of the memories it held. It was in these moments that the terror crept in, not from any visible threat, but from the feeling that something unseen was watching, waiting, silently following her every move. And then, a sudden noise, a door slamming somewhere in the distance, shattered the silence like glass breaking in her mind. She froze, her heart thudding in her chest, echoing in the hollow chambers of the space around her. Was it a trick of the mind, or was something, or someone, lurking just out of sight, moving through the darkened hallways like a shadow? The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end as she turned, her every instinct screaming at her to run, to escape. But the place held her captive. The walls felt like they were closing in, tightening around her, and with every step, the fear twisted deeper into her soul, making her wonder if she would ever see daylight again. In this haunted, forgotten world, there was no way out, not unless she could outwit whatever ancient force called this place home. But with each passing second, she began to realize that perhaps the real horror wasn't the dark corners or the slamming doors. It was the feeling that this place was alive, and it had no intention of letting her leave. Imagine for a moment standing at the edge of a storm, winds howling, rain battering your face, the sky crackling with energy. Now picture this storm not in the sky above but in the conversation you're having with someone. The tension rises, words fly like sharp gusts, and emotions swirl like a tempest. It's so easy to get caught in the chaos, to let the storm consume you, to feel as though you have to win, to prove that you're right. But in the midst of this turbulence, there is a way to find calm, to steer the conversation toward a place of understanding, rather than victory. This wisdom found in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius reminds us, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. It's a reminder that true strength doesn't lie in widening the gaps of disagreement, but in bridging them. Think of an argument as a boat caught in rough seas. If both of you are rowing in opposite directions, the boat spins wildly, going nowhere. But when you shift your focus, when you row in unison toward a common goal, suddenly the boat moves forward even as the storm still rages around you. This shift transforms the very nature of the conflict. No longer is it about defeating the other person, but about moving together toward a resolution. The storm may still roar, but the boat remains steady because you're navigating it together. And this shift, this change of perspective, begins with language. Words hold incredible power, especially in moments of conflict. A phrase like, "You never listen" or "You always do this" might feel like a quick release of frustration, but it only fuels the fire. It puts the other person on the defensive and the storm intensifies. Instead, try, "How can we figure this out together?" Or, "What can we both do to make this better?" This small shift from you to we transforms an argument into a partnership, a collaboration. It's no longer you versus them. It's you two, working together to solve the problem at hand. Collaboration in an argument doesn't mean giving up your beliefs or remaining silent when something matters to you. It's about bringing empathy and mutual respect into the conversation. Even when disagreements seem insurmountable, when you find common ground, whether it's a shared value for fairness, cleanliness, or teamwork, you can begin to build a solution together rather than tearing each other down. Instead of attacking someone's character, focus on addressing the behavior or issue at hand. Instead of accusing, say, "I feel overwhelmed when the chores pile up. Can we figure out a way to divide them more evenly?" This separates the person from the problem, allowing you both to work together toward a resolution. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. You can't control how someone reacts, but you can control how you approach the conversation. When you prioritize collaboration over competition, you take the first step toward diffusing conflict. You're no longer fighting to win, you're seeking a solution that works for both parties. And in doing so, you build trust, strengthen relationships, and create a space for growth. So, the next time you find yourself in the midst of an argument, ask yourself, am I trying to understand this person or am I trying to prove them wrong? If it's the latter, pause. Take a breath. Remember that arguments aren't about winning. They're about finding a way forward together. When you shift your mindset, when you see an argument not as a battleground but as an opportunity for collaboration, the tension begins to ease. Suddenly, the storm begins to subside, and you realize that in finding common ground, you've not only solved the problem but deepened the connection. In the heat of an argument, there's a temptation to rush in, to stand firm, to fight with all your might. The urge to win is like a primal fire, burning with the desire to prove your point, to come out victorious, to claim that fleeting satisfaction of being right. But in that blaze, there's something important we often overlook. The quiet power of letting go of the need to win. To let go of that need is not to surrender or diminish your worth. Instead, it's an act of profound humility. It's recognizing that the world doesn't revolve around your perspective alone, that the other person's view, their feelings, their thoughts, have weight too. In the midst of a heated exchange, ask yourself, am I so sure of my own point of view that I'm blind to theirs? Could there be something I'm missing here? What can I learn from them? This shift from being right to being curious opens the door to empathy, to understanding, and ultimately, to resolution. One powerful tool in this process is the simple, disarming phrase, "You might be right." It's not an admission of defeat. It's an invitation to pause, to listen, and to truly consider the other person's perspective. Those 4 words, said with sincerity, can transform a combative argument into a collaborative conversation. They signal that you're not merely trying to win, but you're willing to hear, to understand, to connect. When you show that you value the other person's point of view, it often inspires them to do the same. It's not about conceding, it's about coexisting, respecting, and growing together. Then take a step back and reflect on the long-term impact of the conflict. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? In most cases, the answer is no. This realization can be incredibly freeing. It serves as a reminder that not every battle is worth fighting, and that preserving the relationship often matters more than being right. Sometimes, the most powerful decision is not to resolve every disagreement, but to accept that a perfect resolution isn't always possible. Agreeing to disagree is not failure, it's wisdom. It means honoring the space for both perspectives without forcing one to dominate the other. Letting go of the need to win also means being comfortable with unresolved disagreements. Not every argument requires a neatly tied-up conclusion. Often, it's enough to have listened, understood, and maintained mutual respect. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others, only our own reactions. You cannot force someone to change their mind, and sometimes, accepting that is the truest form of strength. So next time you find yourself in the midst of a dispute, take a breath and ask yourself, what truly matters here? Is it proving your point at the cost of the relationship, Or is it moving toward understanding and growth? Is this argument helping you evolve, or is it feeding your ego? These reflections shift the focus from winning to connection, from proving to listening. When we prioritize understanding over victory, arguments transform. They become opportunities to connect, to learn, and to grow. By choosing humility, by choosing empathy, and by choosing respect over being right, we create a space for stronger relationships and healthier communication. The most meaningful victories aren't the ones that make us feel superior. They're the ones that strengthen the connections that matter most. Thank you for joining us today and exploring these transformative strategies to stay calm in arguments. We hope these insights help you manage emotions, sharpen your ability to listen actively, and navigate conflicts with clarity and control. Remember, arguments don't have to be battles. They are opportunities to choose a response, and that choice holds the key to true strength. When you can manage your emotions, shift your mindset, and prioritize understanding, you'll find that conflicts become stepping stones toward growth and resilience, both in your relationships and in everyday life. Stay calm, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next video.